Hey, how are you doing today? I'm here in my office in Manhattan. Welcome to my office in Manhattan. And I had several clients today wherein I found myself referencing a particular part of a talk that I often give when I'm speaking to collegiate athletes, collegiate recruits and their parents, or at ceremonies celebrating the end of the season, that sort of thing. It can be a small group or a group that, 300, 400, 500, whatever it is. And one of the things that I regularly bring up, actually, is I'll pull a $20 bill out of my pocket when I'm up in front of the group, and I'll say to them, I will give $20 to the first person who can shout out to me why this college exists. And of course, I get all sorts of answers being shouted out, and to give us an education or whatever their answers may be. And right about that time, I pack up the $20 and I put it back in my pocket, and I say, no, it's not that. The truth is, you're going to get an education no matter where you go or what you do. No, this college exists fundamentally to line up this giant buffet of experiences in front of you. And your job as a college student, as a college person, as a person of this age, during these 4 years, and really for the next 4 years or 10 years or however long it takes, your job is to step up to that buffet and to quit as many things as possible. Now, no sooner do I say that than usually the entire room goes silent, for I've just spoken really the anathema, the antithesis of what we're all taught as athletes. And what we as coaches, and I used to be an NCAA coach, what we as coaches basically have always taught our athletes not to do, right? And I'm telling kids, and I'm telling their parents, I'm telling their siblings, that the single most important thing you can do during these years is to step up to the buffet of life and to quit as many things as possible. Our job as a college is to line up this buffet of everything from studying organic chemistry to hanging out with your friends on the weekend to volunteering at a homeless shelter to studying overseas to dating girls to going out and partying on the weekend. Everything. Your job is to step up and to taste and sample as many things as possible and to quit. See, we're taught as athletes that winners never quit and quitters never win, right? That's the great quote by Vince Lombardi, right? The one we've all had ringing in our head. And it's seen as a failure, you're seen as a loser if you quit anything. But the real truth of the matter is you got to take that quote and you got to throw it out the window. Because the real truth of the matter is that we all quit, right? The greatest athletes of all time have all quit. The great one, Wayne Gretzky, quit playing hockey when he thought his prime was done, but when he quit, he was still probably better than 90% of the guys in the league. When Michael Jordan stepped out, he quit. Gretzky quit coaching, right? Michael Jordan quit coaching, went on to something else. They found they weren't as good as those things. They're finding their niche in life, right? All athletes quit. LeBron James quit Cleveland, went to Miami, quit Miami, went back to Cleveland, and so on and so forth. The truth is, we have to quit. We continue to quit to find the next new path in life, the next calling, the next passion in life, the next thing that is sort of calling to our soul that we want to pursue with passion. And your job, especially at this young age, is to quit as many things as possible till you find those 1 or 2 or 3 things that electrify your soul, that light you up, that you're passionate about. And if you don't have permission to quit, or your parents don't give you permission to quit, or you yourself don't give yourself permission to quit, what you'll end up doing for a good long time, for about the next 20 years till you end up knocking on my door because of how unhappy you are in your life and you need counseling, what you'll end up doing is doing many things that don't fill your soul, that don't electrify you, that don't excite you. And so the challenge is to follow that trail of breadcrumbs. And this is the next thing that really keeps going and excites me. And that's going to open up into something else. And then that's going to open up to a door down here, which opens up to a door and a new excitement over here. And if you don't have the courage to walk away from that which is you, you will never find, if you don't have the courage to walk away from that which isn't you, you will never find that which is you. The path of discovering your true self is having the courage to walk away from that which isn't you. And that takes tremendous courage, particularly when there's pressure on you, oftentimes from the people who claim to love us the most, when there's pressure on you to not quit. And so what oftentimes people will do, college-age kids, and I've counseled numerous ones, is they'll become depressed because they find themselves doing all these things that they're not allowed to quit. And so they're under this burden of all these things they've started. Or worse, is they won't even start anything unless they absolutely know they can succeed at it and be the best at it. Why? Because they're not allowed to quit. They're certainly not allowed to not succeed at it. So I'm not even going to start. I'm not even going to try. And so you start living in this fear mode. But the person who's willing to and give themselves permission to quit is the one who has the greatest chance of success. So fundamentally what I'm saying is you need to have the courage to walk away from that which is no longer you. And a lot of times we know right away. One of the questions I regularly ask clients when they have walked away from something and then they've come back to me for counseling later, or they started counseling with me later and they need tweaks or adjustments in their life, is I'll ask them, at what point did you know? At what point did you know that you needed to walk away from X, Y, or Z, whatever it was? And a lot of times they'll say, Sven, I knew in the first week. But it took me 3 months, or it took me 6 months, or it took me a year and a half to leave that position because I was afraid I wouldn't find something new, or my pride wouldn't let me leave, or I was afraid of what people would say. It all boils down to some variation of that, by the way, afraid of what people will say, right? And so we persist at things, and it tears us apart. Your health begins to break down, relationships begin to break down, all sorts of things begin to go crazy when you're not listening to that voice inside, and oftentimes you'll know right away. The people who are the greatest successes in life are the ones who have the courage to walk away from that which is not you, that which is not them. Because it's only then that we open up the door to and make room for that which is you. So my challenge to you is simply this. My challenge today is simply this. 2 questions. First, what's your heart calling you to? What is it that you know in your gut that you got to do, that you want to do, that electrifies your soul? Even if it's only a whisper, even if it's only a crumb, but you know it's there and it's something you've always wanted, or you know you want to pursue next. What is it? What is the calling of your soul right now? That quiet whisper rising up from deep within you. 1. 2, do you have the courage to pursue it? Do you have the courage to finally begin to live, but most importantly, do you have the courage to walk away from that which is no longer you? I challenge you to go for it, because until you do, you won't be happy. In fact, your unhappiness will persist. Life doesn't magically solve itself. It requires the courage to walk away from that which isn't me in order to have that which is. Have a kick-ass night, and look forward to talking to you again soon.